Hit subscribe to the DIY Writer to support your hardworking authors and also lessen your chances of ending up as a victim in their next book. The world's largest UFO conference, Contact in the Desert, announces the launch of their 8th annual and very first virtual event. This event is focusing on UFOs and the year of science, also consciousness and the future. This will be held June 24th to 28th, 2021. Contact in the Desert is renowned for its top lineup of experts in the fields of ufology, forbidden archaeology, government disclosure, alien phenomenon, crop circles, and much more. Contact in the Desert already is the largest UFO conference in history and will now be the largest UFO conference in the virtual world, with over 60 lectures, 40 workshops, 11 panels, featured speakers presentations, virtual tours to Giant Rock, and other interactive events. Go to contactinthedesert.com for more information and get your tickets now.
Hi, my name is J.A. Curtis.
So just wait a minute. Wait a second.
Sorry. I'm
wait
so
a second.
sorry.
Oh, now I have to do it all over again. Oh my gosh.
I'll let you start.
Oh my gosh.
I'll let you start this time. I ruined everything.
That's okay. Take 2, 3,
right.
2, 1. And I like to have a little bit of silence there so I can do. There's a 2-second cut over from the intro. So I'll go do like 3, 2, 1. This is Jeff Bacon of the DIY Writer Podcast. And today we have the very excited to be on the program, J.A. Curtis. We're also going to call her Jenny. Jenny, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good.
How are you, Jeff?
So tell me about yourself, Jenny.
Well, I am really excited to be here. I am a writer, obviously. That's why I'm here. I write young adult fantasy fiction. My series, Fairy Warrior series, is an urban fantasy adventure novel. And I actually have my second book is coming out in like 10 days. So I'm really excited about that.
Ooh, that would be book 2.
Yes, book 2.
The Rise of the Fomori. Now,
yes.
So your first one came out August 2020. This one's coming out May 30th, 2021. What was this novella that you had come out on March 11th?
Oh yeah, so I wrote a novella, and it's basically backstory to Lies of the Haven, and it's like a little prequel, and so I kind of understand it. You kind of have to understand the story of Lies of the Haven. So basically, the beginning of Lies of the Haven, it's about a girl named Mina who's 15 years old. And she throws a party. Like, this is the very beginning, the first chapter. She throws a party, and these strange kids kind of show up with these tattoos on her arm. She doesn't know who they are, and they start fighting over her. And she's like, "What's going on?" And these tattoos are they're like mythical creatures that are on their arms, and one of them is a dragon, and it comes to life and pretty much burns down the house. So that's chapter 1. And so there's this huge rivalry feud between these two fairy groups. Mina finds out later that she is actually a fairy. And there's these two rival groups. And so the novella is actually about these two rival groups that are led by these two brothers, Arius and Dramian, and kind of how their whole rivalry started. So,
well, we all know in urban fantasy and young adult, it's not a party until you have a dragon.
That's right.
It's not a party till you have a dragon that burns something down.
That's right.
We're so cute and cuddly and everything else. Yes. So how'd you get into writing? What was your what would cause you to want to start writing novels?
I've always really enjoyed writing. Like, I really like the creative process that goes into writing and making up stories. And when I was a little kid, you used to play with Barbies or whatever and stuff. And I never really grew out of that. I just wanted, I moved into making up stories and writing them down. Cool. And so I've always really, really enjoyed that. And right now is a really good time in my life to be writing. I taught school for a while, so I was a little bit busier, but right now I'm staying at home with my kids. And so there's a lot of time where I can, use that creative process and write. So
Usually you don't hear lots of time and staying home with the kids. That's usually not two things you hear somebody say.
I do have to work out some time a little bit. Like if I really want like a lot, like really focused time, then I do have to work that out with like my husband and stuff. And
Uh-huh.
we have worked out where some nights I get to write and he watches the kids. And so yeah.
How many kids you got, two or?
I have two. I have two little girls, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, they're
Wow.
fun. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've got two little ones. I've got a 3.5 and a 1-year-old.
Oh yeah, they're fun.
Yay! Like I said, there's no time. Come on, stop lying.
Okay. I don't write a lot during the day when I'm watching them.
They nap. They take long naps.
They do take naps, but they kind of like one at a time, and so that kind of makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, I'm hoping to get them on the same nap schedule really soon. So hopefully.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
Never happens, but it's always nice.
Right, I can dream.
It's like at night, my two, one sleeps, one doesn't, and then the other one's awake and one's sleeping, and it's just like all night long. It's
Yep.
it's like, really?
Yeah, my 2-year-old, she doesn't, I mean, she only takes like one nap, really short nap during the day, and then at night she's like out. So that's really nice. But my 4-year-old, she'll stay up way late and she comes out 50 times, to ask for water or go to the bathroom or, whatever. So
Yeah. I asked my wife what the long-term effects of Benadryl was, and she wouldn't answer me. So I guess we're just gonna live with it for a while. I don't know. So when you did find time to write, why don't you tell me a little bit about Lies of the Haven?
Yeah. So I wanted to write a book for a couple of things. I was teaching when I first came up with the idea. I was teaching at the time, and I wanted to write something that my students would enjoy. I was teaching middle school, and I was like, I wanted to write something that they would enjoy. So a lot of action and like just like an easy read sort of thing. And I wanted to also write something about a girl who kind of stood up for what she believes, even if like no one believed her, no one followed her or whatever. So that was kind of the premise of where I started out at. And then I had a dream one night, and I think it's funny. I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people base their books off of dreams they have. That's kind of interesting. But
it is funny because that's not a lie. There's a lot of people that do that, and then there's a lot of people that base it off of Dungeons and Dragons or some sort of role-playing thing. Yeah, I mean, everybody gets their inspiration from someplace, some other place.
Yeah, that's true.
I have another personality that writes for me, so
nice. So yeah, I had this dream that like I was in my grandparents' house and there's a dragon chasing me through the house, and I had to go through the house and turn off like all the lights because you can't waste electricity even if the dragon's gonna like burn you to death, So and so that's kind of where like the first chapter came from, with the dragon burning down the house and everything. And so that's kind of where Lies of the Haven went from there. As far as themes, like I said, I like the idea of someone kind of standing up for what they believed, even if no one was like following them. And so there's a lot of themes of like leadership and what that means to be a good leader. And one concept that kind of surprised me but really fits in is kind of like looking at like people see things from their own point of view and their own perspective, and how like we're all blinded by certain things in our lives, from that may keep us from seeing how things are, or yeah, so that's kind of what it's about.
So another person's perspective, is that what you're trying to write from, or?
Yeah, so in the book there's this rivalry, but not everything is quite as it seems. And so Mina's trying to sort through like what's really going on with this rivalry between these two fairy groups. And she's trying to reconcile that, but no one's really listening to her because they have all their own preconceived notions. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of about that. So yeah.
So it is middle school.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
So, is it just about? I mean, is there a big bad that's kind of forcing everything to happen, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there is a big bad, but through that, but the theme throughout the books is kind of um, the big bad obviously has reasons and motives behind it, and so part of the thing is the characters grappling with, um, what do you do when the bad guys kind of have understandable motives sometimes, and so that's part of it as well.
Very cool. Whoops! I just accidentally hit my mouse, and everything popped up in front of you. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Luckily, no one will see that.
Good.
So you've got a couple kids. You're a stay-at-home mom now. You're right. What else do you do for fun?
Um, that's a good question. With COVID, it's really hard to answer that. We take the kids out. We like to go visit parks and go for walks and things in the afternoon when it's sunny. I'm in Washington, so sometimes it's not sunny, so we don't get to go out. But we like to do that. I just love everything like reading and writing and an episode of Avatar every once in a while.
Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender, man.
Oh, the Yang.
Yeah, I love that show.
Yang. Oh. Oh man, I had to watch that I don't know how many times.
I love Avatar. So there's certain shows and movies that I get on like this kick and I'm like, I gotta watch that again. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
one of them where I just like go and I watch, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it's fun.
Yeah. So did you like the movie?
No. No, it was horrible.
Yeah, it was really horrible.
Yeah.
In that I agree with. My older daughters both had to watch it, and they still watch it to this day. And it's like,
Really?
and it was one of those things where, as a dad, you're kind of forced to watch it with them.
Hmm.
Come watch this with me. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, come on, really? But to each their own. So what do you like
Yeah.
about that type of fantasy?
I really liked the world building, I think, in there. Like it all felt like, I know it's based off of like Asian culture, and to me it was felt all really like unique and kind of cool, and made me want to learn more about Asian culture and things. And but it also like the magic system and the characters were all like super relatable, and I loved like Zuko's arc, and it was just, yeah, really good, I thought.
Zuko's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see him being cool right from the beginning. I mean, he wasn't the real bad guy in the beginning. I
Right,
mean, from
right.
the beginning. I mean, you could kind of see where,
It was
I
going,
mean,
yeah,
he
a
is
little bit.
basically excommunicated and he is trying to, claim back his being prince, you know. His
Yeah.
dad's an a-hole, but that's
Right.
that's a totally another thing. But
Yeah.
anyway. So what else you got going on here? You got this next book coming out, Rise of the Fomori?
Yes.
Fomori?
Fomori,
Fomori.
yes. Fomori.
Fomori. Okay.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
book two. So it just picks up where book one left off, or?
Yeah, it picks up just a couple months after book one leaves off. And this book really dives into like the feud between the brothers and a lot of the backstory. Like they kind of, in book one, there are bad guys, but they're not really quite sure what their main goal or what their motive is. And so book two is all about kind of showing and establishing what that goal and what that motive is for the bad guys. And obviously they're
Okay.
kind of like a like a Empire Strikes Back, right? So they're kind of, making their move and kind of revealing their hand in this
So
type
is
of.
this a trilogy then, or is it? Yeah. How many books you got planned for this?
Yeah, it's a trilogy.
Okay.
That's the plan. So
Ah,
I'm really
very.
excited. I'm working on book 3 right now,
Yeah.
Battle of the Lost Fae, and so I'm it's gonna be epic. At
It's
least I
gonna
hope
be
it'll be.
epic.
I hope it'll be epic. So
I thought this is urban fantasy, not epic fantasy.
it's epic urban fantasy.
It's epic urban fantasy. All right, new genre. Let Amazon know.
That's right. There is actually some like high epic fantasy in the book along with the urban fantasy, so it's kind of a mix, but it's mainly urban fantasy.
Okay. Which is, I kind of dig urban fantasy, just from the standpoint that you can make the world more relatable. Versus if
Yeah.
you're going, if you have to build an entire world from scratch, while that's fun, sometimes you can if you don't have a good developmental editor, you can really lose people in some of the details of the world versus, you know, making out the story. Whereas urban fantasy, I think it's a little easier. It's like cheating, which I love. You know,
Yeah, it's fun to mix in the lore in the real world, so that's really fun.
yeah. I like mixing in conspiracy theories and I'm making them real in my books.
Nice.
This is why this happens. Oh my God.
Right.
You know, tweak a few people out, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, you're right.
That makes sense.
There's
Total
you and
sense.
Q. It's like, not really. I'm totally making crap up. I don't know who this Q guy is, but
Right.
don't believe a thing I say. I lie for a living. But,
Yeah.
either way. But very cool. So you got these 2 books out. You're writing a third. You got your prequel out. So what's on the horizon for you?
Really, I'm just really pushing to get that third book done. And then after that, I do have some like other ideas. I have a middle grade fantasy that I'm kind of thinking about writing. And that would be I call it a hyper local fantasy. It's my own term. I just made it up. At least, unless it's out there already, I don't think it is.
Explain this new genre to me.
um, partially what it is, it would be like a fantasy that's mixed with history, but like local, like very local history from like a local area. And so like right now I live in Washington. I'm going to be moving to Nevada, so if I ever write this, I'll probably be in like Nevada where I can access like local history and things.
Nevada's a little different than Washington. That's kind
It
of
is.
interesting.
It is. And so what I would really like to do is dive into some of the historical stuff in the local area that a lot of people don't know about, maybe like a historical monument, and really get into the history there, and then tie in like fantasy, kind of like a middle grade fantasy, where like maybe they're like kind of going and searching for these magical artifacts that are kind of buried in this local history. So that's kind of the basic premise of it.
Very cool. So Washington, you don't have that much sun. Basically Nevada, you're on the surface of the sun.
Right. Yep.
Don't you want to move someplace that's kind of in the middle first and then progress to melting, or what?
That would be nice. But my husband actually, he just got a job down in Nevada, and so that's why we're going down there. He's teaching at Nevada State College.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so that's why we're
I was
moving
kind of
down there.
waiting for you to say he's going to be a pit boss at a casino or something, but
That was his other option,
that
but
was he had 2 job offers. He decided to teach.
That's right. Probably would have made more money at the other one though.
Possibly. I don't know that they have a lot of tenure, but maybe they do. I don't know.
So
Cool. So Yeah, I mean, the question I have is, you've written two books, you're writing your third, you have a couple of kids and everything else. What's your writing process look like? I mean, are you a pantser or a plotter? What do you I mean, do you just sit down and all of a sudden just start writing, page after page after page because you have 5 minutes, or I mean, how does that work for you?
So when I first started writing, I was very much a pantser. Like, just like I had like an idea in my head, and then I'd come up with like just a random other idea like later in the story, so I'd go write that, and I'd be
Mhm.
like, okay, now I have to find a way to connect them. And then I actually I took a writing class and at the local community college, and he was very much into plotting and stuff, and so I learned a lot about plotting things out and stuff. So now I'm a plantser, because if I plot everything out, I'm going to get bored and not going to want to write it.
You're
But
a plantser.
yes, yes, that's
Okay,
what I am. I'm a little bit of both.
you're a
Um,
plantser.
so
Okay.
I do like an overall kind of idea, and I have certain scenes in my head that I know I'm going to write, and I know I have to get there. But I don't always know exactly how I'm going to get there. But as long as I hit those points, then I know I'm headed in the right direction. So that's kind of my writing process now.
Cool.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
And how much time do you spend writing a week? I mean,
Oh
do you write every
gosh.
day or?
I try to. Book marketing is taking up a little bit more of my time nowadays with my second book coming out. But I try to write a little bit every day, but there are certain days when, like I said, I worked it out with my husband where I get more writing time. So I definitely like make sure I write on those days. So
Mhm. So what are you doing for book marketing besides podcasts?
I'm trying to figure out book marketing. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying a lot of different things. With my book release, I'm having a book release party on May 31st, and so that'll be fun to try out. I've never done that before. I didn't do that with my first book.
Where are you doing
And
that at?
it's going to be on Facebook.
Okay.
So if you go to my page on like J.A. Curtis on Facebook, then there'll be a link to the event. So um,
Facebook party on the
yeah,
31st.
yes.
All right. Are you going to supply the booze or is it bring your own?
Definitely bring your own. It's
All
gonna be
right.
online.
All right.
So, but we do have we're gonna have like book giveaways. I'm gonna have some guest authors that are giving away their own books from their own series, and I'm also doing a writers corner for my writer friends and any other writers who want to come, and kind of giving away some stuff there. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Cool. You can like do live or?
I'm gonna start out, yeah, I'm gonna start out live, and then kind of we'll move into like posts, and I'm gonna let some authors do some takeovers and stuff. So they'll be
Oh,
posting their stuff.
takeovers.
Yeah. So
The last one I did was for somebody that did YA, and I don't write YA.
oh no.
I write dark fantasy. And they're
Yeah.
like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. It's like, that's my whole shtick. All right. Nope. It's all right. I'll be good. Kind of.
Nice. So yeah, I am trying to reach out and get some authors maybe that I don't know as much, but most of them are like my author friends that I know, and I know their books, and so I kind of know kind of how they run things. So
So it's like your author friends. Okay.
yeah.
It's like your buds that you hang out
Yeah.
with. Cool. I think your author buds are always kind of an interesting group
Definitely, definitely.
because I don't know if you do this or not, but every now and then you get on the Zoom call with like 5 or 6 or 14 of your sickest friends, and you start going through what books you hate, what books you love, and this and that. And then all of a sudden it turns into, you almost write a book in one of these meetings. It's just,
Right. Ideas,
oh
yeah.
my God, we should do this,
That's so true.
and then, somebody goes, I'm going to steal that,
Right.
that kind of stuff. But it's always pretty cool. It's always
Mhm.
pretty cool. What else you doing for advertising?
Good question. I am trying to just kind of build up my social media right now. I've done like Amazon ads and stuff. I haven't done a ton of Facebook ads yet. I'm kind of waiting to get more books out before I spend money on those.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of trying to do it all organically at the moment and kind of see, something else I'm doing, because marketing's hard for me, but I do like the idea of like giving back. So I do like author interviews with like classes. So I have like one tomorrow with a 7th grade class. And I talk about writing, and I give them a copy of my novella, and offer to, critique their work if they would like that, sort of thing. So that's one
Cool.
thing I try to do.
Nothing is better than somebody coming into your class and telling you that you didn't do a good job. Critiquing work is an awful lot of fun for a lot of kids.
Yeah,
They love that criticism.
I'm sure. I try to be nice about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Son, at some point in time, you're gonna have to form a complete sentence. I'm only 5. I don't care.
I don't go that in depth. I try to balance it out with like, oh, I really like this, and maybe you could think about this, or something like that.
Right. So. I like to have my 3-year-old daughter diagram sentences on Saturdays because that's what we do for fun around here. Just kidding. That's why you have an editor.
Right. Right.
But now that sounds like fun. A friend of mine who writes YA, she's a teacher, and that's what she does. She goes around to classrooms, and it's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Her marketing's a little different than mine, but it is kind of interesting. Amazon ads are kind of hit and miss sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I found.
Have you heard of Brian Cohen?
Yes, I've taken a couple of his free courses.
What'd you think of those?
I really like them. I mean, I didn't know anything about Amazon ads, so taking his course was really informative and really helpful in getting that going. So
he makes a lot of money he makes a lot of money off his ads. It's kind of interesting. He does a really good job of teaching him, but he also does a really good job of marketing his stuff, which is kind of interesting. He has a little bit different take on things, but I like his system a lot.
Yeah, it's really helped me to get going with those. So
yeah. You on Instagram?
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, at J.A. Curtis Books.
J.A. Curtis. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my handle on like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So.
Oh, Twitter. What do you think of Twitter?
I have a lot of mixed feelings about Twitter. The writing community on Twitter is really nice. They're really nice. But as far as like for marketing purposes and reaching readers, I haven't found a lot of success in that.
I think it's the most ADDDDD thing I have ever seen. It is. I don't get it. And I know some people just love it. And you can follow people and you get notifications when they post things. And it seems like some of the younger folks are like, oh my God, Twitter, I just kill on there. And it's like, describe to me what killing is, because when I get down to Twitter, that's a feeling I have, like killing my Twitter account. But
yeah, I go through like if I have something coming up, like a book release or something, I go and I kind of wake up Twitter and I go like interact a lot on there and wake it up and try to get, more interactions. You have to kind of wake it up a little bit to get people to notice you on Twitter. So
I just, I picked up for the podcast, I picked up a couple of interviews, but that's it. For the book side of things, it's so hard to tell. I personally have only bought one book because somebody contacted me on Twitter about it. The rest of it. And then the other thing that I can't stand is all of the, it's almost filled with more experts than Facebook on all sorts of things.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And everyone's trying to get interest for their own book, and there is some reciprocity, but not a ton on there.
There's a lot of people that really help put the twit in Twitter.
Yeah. Definitely.
I don't know. There was a guy that was harassing authors.
Really? Oh.
I mean, he was, he made himself out to be like an English teacher and, a very accomplished author and everything else. And I'm sitting there watching this, and it's like, I mean, he's just all over the place commenting on people's, posts, and
Mm.
a few of them were people that I knew, and so it's like, who the hell is this guy? And so I started looking him up. He's, like an accountant. I mean, I looked him up on LinkedIn. He's using his real name.
Yeah.
And, he's like an accountant. Okay. So he's not an English teacher. He's not,
Right.
da, 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 da. Guess how many books he has published that I can
Zero.
find?
None.
None.
Yeah.
So when I
Oh.
asked him the direct question, I said, so how many books do you actually have published there, Mr. Know-it-all? He just, well, that's not important. It's like, oh, okay.
Wow.
But, and so I asked him how his job was doing. And then all of a sudden I didn't hear from him ever again. I mean, I couldn't, I think I got blocked or something. I don't know, whatever, but I just don't see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or,
Wow.
maybe he dropped off, but yeah, I don't know what happened, but I like to harass people on Facebook every now and then. I like the scammers. They're my favorite people.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Nice.
Have you heard about the new grant program by the Health and Human Services folks? And no, gosh, tell me all about it. How much money do I have to send you to get this huge grant that's going to set me up for the rest of my life?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they go into their spiel, and then I ask them all sorts of dumb questions, and I try and make them mad so they do something stupid.
There
And
you
if they
go.
don't do that within, I'd say, 6 responses, then I just cut them off.
Yeah.
But my favorite one is the brand new profile. And it's some sexy chick or whatever. They friend you, and then they start sending, hey baby, how you doing? It's
Hmm.
like, no, we're not gonna video chat on Skype.
Right. I don't get a lot of that on Facebook, but Twitter, you have to be careful. I always have to like check out people's profiles.
Instagram is kind of nasty about that. All of a sudden people, a lot of my friends start thinking that they start posting some of their DMs they get and some of the responses, or some of my female friends,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden some people have the misconception that Instagram is kind of like a dating site.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, hey baby, how are you? Yeah, I'm a very successful man. No, you're not. You're hitting on people on Instagram that you don't know. You're not. There's nothing that spells success like that. But
Yeah.
social
Yeah.
media is kind of a fickle little thing. I
It
hate
is.
it all.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, in this world, it's a must. But yeah, it's not my favorite. Marketing itself isn't my favorite thing, but it's all a must. So
So have you done like a video trailer for your books and such?
I haven't. I haven't done that yet. Invested in that yet.
You should do that. There are there's companies out there that'll do it for you,
Mhm.
but it's pretty easy. Like, get a Canva account or something like that, or I mean, you can do some pretty cool videos for next to nothing, and post them on Facebook,
Yeah. Yeah.
Instagram, whatever. And that seems to get some pretty good hits on it every now and then. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be like all theatrical. There's one guy who does these, I mean, these huge productions, and he's like, I think he's charging like $900 per book trailer.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and it is, I mean, they are intense. I mean,
Yeah.
they are very theatrical. They are very, they got the pounding music in the background, and it's all
That's
very,
cool.
it is kind of cool. And they're like a minute and a half or something like that of, I mean, it's like a movie trailer. I mean, it's really high quality. I just can't ever see,
Spending $900. Yeah, that's
on
quite
one, you're never going to make your money off of it.
right,
you
right,
know
right. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
you
But
know
yeah, that's cool.
I
That's
think
something maybe I can
$30
look
is
into.
great, but 900, no.
Right, right. Yeah. So for my novella, I found a guy on Fiverr and spent about $30 for the cover. The cover's awesome.
Yeah.
So it worked really, really well. The other ones I invested a little bit more money in, but but for my novella, which is a little bit shorter and I wasn't planning on making a ton of money off of it, I went a little bit cheaper and it worked really well. So I'm
I
glad
think
with it.
the only thing that a good editor is probably where you want to spend your money, but
Definitely.
everything else you can do all sorts of amazing things with people, especially on Fiverr or different places.
Mhm.
Getting book covers and some other things for not that much money, and you really don't have a huge budget.
No, you don't. Definitely not, especially for like a beginning author starting out. I'm building, my audience and stuff. So I try to keep, the budget down until hopefully things start rolling in a
You
little
got a
bit more.
newsletter?
I do. Yes, I
Okay.
do have a newsletter that I send out weekly at the moment. Sometimes it's semi-weekly, but right now it's weekly. So
Weekly? Holy buckets.
yeah, it's fun. I use like Story Origin to do like swaps and things, so
Mhm.
it works out. And I do book reviews on my blog, so I also post those in my newsletter.
Oh.
So
So you're blah, 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 blah. You on Goodreads then?
yes, I am at J.A. Curtis Books again.
Really?
On Goodreads, yeah.
It's J.A. Curtis?
J.A. Curtis Books. Yeah.
Unlike everything else, no, just kidding. Sorry. So do you post your reviews on Goodreads then too?
Yes, I do.
Cool.
Yeah, I do. Like I review a lot of indie books. I'll do like traditionally published books every once in a while, but they don't go. I have like an indie review page where I post like the book cover and the link to the review and everything, and so that I do that for
Cool.
indie authors.
Who's your favorite author?
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's like the hardest question you could ever ask me.
Right. That's why I ask it, because I like to see people just kind of flounder in the wind and go, "Oh my god, I don't know how to answer this."
Um, let's see. It really depends on the genre that I'm in or what I'm into kind of at the moment. I mean, there's classics like I like classic romance like Jane Austen. I've always loved Jane Austen if we're going super classical. But I like a lot of the popular YA. I usually enjoy, except Twilight. And so
All right, we are now friends.
okay, good.
I could go on for hours on the benefits of hating sparkly vampires.
Yes, definitely. There's a great podcast. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Twilight in Quarantine. And
No.
it is the most awesome thing ever because they totally make fun of Twilight. Like every
Really?
episode. Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
So,
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, how about Twilight?
so it's like a great because it's for people like if you like Twilight, it's still a good podcast to listen to. But if you hate Twilight, it's still a good podcast to listen to because they totally tear it apart. So.
Oh, you know what? Anything that tears that apart.
Yes.
I remember there's just a local news station, and one of the gals was one of the anchors. She was just so excited about the new Twilight book that was coming out. She's like hopping up and down her chair, and she's like, just so excited. And it's like, my God, and then the movies are coming out, and she's just like, having a fit about it. And it's just like, oh my God, you are just such a nerd on this, and the movies sucked. The books were I can't say the books sucked because I only read one, and I'm not even sure I read the whole thing. It was just like, oh my God, really?
Yeah I read the first one and then I think I watched the second movie and then I read the third book and I was like, no, I still don't like this, so I stopped.
And the sad thing is the guy that is now Batman, who went from sparkly vampire to Batman. I think that's going to fail just because he was a sparkly vampire.
Right. It's hard to remove.
No matter how good of an actor he is, he always be a sparkly vampire to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, I like that Batman meme on Facebook where Batman's sitting here goes, I don't know what happened, but evidently I'm supposed to sparkle.
Nice.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. But yeah, in the whole werewolf versus vampire love triangle thing, it's like, give me a break. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just felt like the relationship dynamics were super unhealthy, and I didn't really enjoy it. So. But I mean, some people like that sort of thing. And actually, my husband likes Twilight, and which is I know, right? Really weird. He likes it. I don't like it. But so we took a little trip, and we took like a anniversary trip. We went to Port Angeles, and we did go and visit Forks. And I'm a nerd, so I love everything nerdy. So even if it's Twilight, I was okay with being a nerd and visiting the Twilight sites. So so it was fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. There's so many things I could make fun of him about, and I don't even know him. That's we're just going to refrain from that just in case he's listening. I want him to come up here and teach me a lesson anyway. Because he was in the running for a pit boss job, right? Yeah.
Well, yes, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
So, people are complicated, okay, Jeff?
So. Yeah. He's a very deep character.
That's right.
All right, very
cool. Can't put him in a box.
Very cool. So we're going to kind of wrap this up a little bit. Got anything to tell your readers as we exit out of this exit stage left?
If you like YA fantasy with a lot of action and a lot of mystery, then check out my Fairy Warrior series. First book is Lies of the Haven, and if you like kind of the things I've talked about my books today, you can find me at J.A. Curtis Books on Goodreads and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, so pretty much anywhere. And my website is jacurtisbooks.com, so really easy.
Really easy.
Yep.
The one thing I would say is that on the 31st, if you're looking for something to do, join our Facebook party and get some free stuff from not only J.A. Curtis, but also some other authors.
Definitely. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to plug these things, it's marketing.
Right.
It's marketing. All righty. Well, very cool. I appreciate the time you give me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Next time for your next book, let me know and you can come back on and we'll talk about that one too.
Yeah, that would be great.
And we'll do another Facebook party.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Facebook parties are so cool.
We'll see. This is my first one, so we'll see how it goes. So if you're looking to support a new author, that's me.
On the 31st. And guess what? It's J.A. Curtis Books.
That's right.
Kidding. All right. Very cool. Well, thank you very much for your time again. I appreciate it. This is Jeff at the DIY Writer Podcast. Telling you, have yourself a great day. Keep your chin up because you know what? Life is just getting better every day. All right. Bye-bye.
Please hit the subscribe button. I get a bonus for every subscriber and I only need 1,506 more to become a full-time paid employee. Help me please.